Since most of the news coming from Greece these days is about economic turmoil, we thought it time to look for a bright spot. And there is one. Greek wine. You know, in the days of Socrates, pouring a Greek wine for your pals was like today flaunting a magnum of cult Cabernet. And then the reputation of Greek wines nosedived for a very long time. But today, something new is afoot. Tara Q. Thomas is tracking it. She's senior editor of Wine and Spirits magazine and author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Wine Basics. Tara, welcome.
Thank you very much, Lynn.
So, Tara, what is happening with Greek wines? You used to go to restaurants and you drink the Retsina, that's the white wine with the pine resin in it, and some okay wines. But now there are absolute stunners. What's changed?
What's changed is that Greece joined the EU in the 1980s, and the winemakers had to work really hard and really fast to catch up. They had lost a lot of time in the decades before that, but they had fabulous materials to work with, grapes that you don't find anyplace else in the world, and an incredible variety of different wine-growing regions. And they've really made a lot of success in a really short period of time.
How are wine pros reacting to this? I mean, are they kind of turning up their noses, or are they enthusiastic?
They used to. I'll tell you that the very first time I set up a Greek wine tasting at Wine and Spirits, it was 1997, and I scrounged all over for Greek wines. I came up with maybe 40 of them, and then I had to get down on my hands and knees and beg people to come taste with me. Now, I have people lining up, because Greece is a sommelier's dream. They're really high-quality wines made from little-known grapes and entirely unique grapes, and they're also made with food in mind. So it's something that the sommeliers can offer their customers that, you know, no other country offers, and they tend to be really great value as well.
Okay, but this is a tough thing for consumers. You know, you go into a wine shop, and if you do find Greek wines, we know nothing about them. The names are confusing. We don't know what to look for. So how would you begin?
I think I would begin in the most obvious place, and that would be Santorini. If there's one iconic Greek wine, it would be Santorini. It's also very easy because Santorini wines are made from a grape called Assyrtiko, but you don't have to pronounce the grape. They're labeled Santorini. Easy to remember. But also, these are white wines, and they're as dramatic as that sun-bleached craggy rock that we call Santorini. It's actually the remnants of a volcano. There's almost no soil that these vines grow in. They're just blasted by the sun and the sea. And they taste like the sun and stone and sea. They're beautiful. They're crisp. They're lemony. They have this mouth-watering salinity. They're gorgeous. But also, I would say, they're no easy quaffers. These are wines that are built with food in mind. In fact, Greek winemakers on Santorini really like to have their white wines with lamb. They have
interesting.
They have the structure, they have the acidity, but you can have them with anything, with a nice fish pulled directly from the sea, with a little bowl of olive oil and feta and some bread to soak it up. But you need to have some food on the side. That's one key thing, I think, with all Greek wines.
What's the pricing like on Greek wines?
It depends on where you are, but for the most part, you're looking at wines between $12 and $25. You could find some that are higher than that, but for a really great Santorini, let's say the Boutari, which is pretty widely found, I think it's running about $17 right now. Some other names to look for would be Sigalis and Yea, and theirs might be a little bit higher, but still, no more than 25.
What about a red?
Well, for red wine, I would go to Nemea. Again, the wine is labeled by the region, Nemea. It's easy to remember. You don't have to deal with the grape. And it's a region of the Peloponnese, about 2 hours south of Athens. And to me, I often think of it, no offense to Merlot producers out there, but as Merlot with personality. It's got that lovely, round, plump, cherry-like fruit, but it also has these sort of foresty, herbal qualities to it. It's got shape. It's got lusty fruit, but it's not just a big fruit bomb either. Mm-hmm. And there's some wonderful ones out there from producers like Skouras, Yea, Driopi. Again, these are running about $20, $15 to $20. Going
back to that Retsina, the famous Greek wine with the pine resin in it,
mm-hmm.
do you have any idea where that originally came from?
It was actually a pan-Mediterranean thing in ancient times. The ancients used pine resin to seal the clay amphorae that they kept the wines in. And, of course, the pine resin did flavor the wines that were kept in these big containers, and they came to like that flavor. For some reason, the Greeks are the only ones who held onto the tradition. And, I have to say, many Greek winemakers don't like to hear me say this, but a good Retsina can be a really wonderful thing. If you can imagine a very, very hot day, and you're sitting at a table with your feet in the sand, and you have a table laid out with a little fried fish and some garlicky tzatziki and some salty feta and, all these little plates with these really strong flavors, that Retsina tastes really refreshing.
Mm-hmm. So, Tara, with the Greek economy, what's happening with the winemakers?
It's a really tough time for the winemakers right now, especially those that don't export, that don't produce enough wine to export, aren't big enough producers. As you can imagine, a lot of Greeks are not buying wine for personal consumption. So that leaves a lot of pressure on us here, I think, in the States to support the Greek market by buying their wines.
I don't think that's going to be any kind of sacrifice for us.
Me neither.
Tara, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.